Hello and welcome to the First Listen Guy channel. I'm the First Listen Guy, and today we have a little bit of a Sleep Token Sunday midweek interlude. Now I'm going to put it out today being Tuesday because tomorrow, oh yes, it's the big semi-final of the World Cup, England versus Argentina. So I'm going to be fully involved in that. But I promise you guys that I'm going to be reacting and watching the Sleep Token The Love You Want music video. And thank you so much for all of you that sent me the links. For some reason, I hadn't verified my age, and YouTube decided to see me as a toddler and hid the video from me. So anyway, we've managed to find it. We're here, and we're here for it. So let's get started, shall we? All right. First, watch The Love You Want music video.
Lying in circle on your own continuum.
Oh wow, look at that. Are they white ribbons? Yeah. Oh, there he is. Our dear boy Vessel. Oh wow. I mean, look at that imagery there. So, white ribbons. I'm interested to see what these mean, and he's currently holding one, and they're all over the place. And then you've got a lot of red, which looks to be in a kind of forest or woods somewhere. And then there he is. Wow. And what is he holding in his hand? I know it's a white ribbon, but what's in the other hand? Let's have a look.
Freak show talk to a careful minimum.
Is that like a sword? Like a samurai?
Find a different harbor to lay my anchor in. And you'll find a different way to keep from setting sail again. No, but I'm still full of the love you want.
Wow, okay, let's just go back to that. That is, so he's tying another white ribbon. Okay, okay, there's a lot of white ribbons there. So, just off the cuff here, visually speaking, I mean, these like red branches almost look like blood vessels, don't they? Um, so are we inside blood vessels? Are we inside his psyche or are we inside his heart? Because to me, this feels more like a heart at the moment than it does inside, unconscious. I mean, I don't know what, I don't know why. But it just looks like, sort of the blood vessels within your body. But I don't know what these white ribbons represent yet. So let's find out.
Again. No, but I'm still full of the love you want. Still waking
Hello.
up beneath it all, and I'm still full of the love you want.
Is that kind of like red petals or something as well? They look like tiny red blood cells, don't they? Actually floating around in the air. And then you've got these ladies that are dressed in these like white cloaks. Has she got... Oh, she's got ribbons around her wrists.
Seems your heart is locked up, and I still get the combination wrong.
Okay, there's a light.
Or are you simply waiting to save your love for someone I am not? Too many swallowed keys will make you bleed internally someday. Oh, maybe you believe that in the end you will be better off that way.
Oh, oh. God, those claps get me every single time. Okay, so these are really interesting. So they've got white ribbons around their wrists, and they're wearing these white cloaks. And then there were a lot of white ribbons on the tree. So if we're going down the path of we're inside Vessel's heart, these white ribbons could represent past relationships. Okay, that's the most, I would say, obvious choice. And each of those ribbons are representing past relationships that I'm assuming have ended, hence why he's just put another notch on. I was going to say bedpost, but that sounds so bad because he's not like that at all. This is not what this is about. So please forgive me with that. But past relationships that have ended for whatever reasons, breakdowns, arguments. It's interesting that they've placed ribbons around their wrists. That could be purely for a visual reason so that you can clearly see them. It could also, I guess, stem back from the either the internal cuts, the lock and key schemes that he used in previous songs, um, that bleed internally. So they could also represent that. It could also represent the self-harming. So every time a relationship breaks down, he feels, not that he does, but maybe he feels the need to want to do that because of how distressing, distraught, and hurt he feels. You could, through a Jungian lens, see this as aspects and different personality traits and emotional traits of the anema that are right here in front of us, and each white ribbon that he ties on the tree or around his heart are each of the projections that have failed in the past. And that would be a lot. And no wonder the poor guy's absolutely exhausted and hurt and upset and wanting to find peace with himself because this is the cycle has happened so many times. I mean, that was a lot of white ribbons and bows on that tree. So this has obviously gone on for a long period of time. So let's see what happens. But yeah, there's a few theories here, which is what Sleep Token is all about. What's really interesting as well about this, visually speaking, and from a sort of choreography standpoint, is that the camera keeps focusing on this lady here, this female, and out of all the others. So, is there one significant relationship here that cut him the deepest, that he projected the most, the strongest, that failed, that has caused him to get to where we are now in Fall for Me? And a lot of the time, the other dancers are dancing the same, doing the same choreography, and she's doing something slightly different. So there's obviously a focus on this one person, this one figure. So is this the strongest anema projection that he's had so far that's hurt him the most? And by the way, I'm not saying that the woman that he's projected on is hurting him. It's his projection, right? She's actually got nothing to do with it. She's just unfortunately the person that he's projected onto, seen qualities on her that he has then created this fantasy. So she actually does nothing wrong. It's all within himself because the projection are parts of the unconscious emotions that live within him that he needs to realize that he needs to start looking internally, right? And stop projecting externally. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to get that straight. So let's see where this takes us because this is really interesting to focus. Another thing as well that I'm noticing with this choreography, they're doing a lot of reaching. And what are they reaching for? Or you could say reaching, you could say projecting. I don't know. But you could do you generally there is a case for that, right? That they are trying to project externally outwards. A lot of this is outwards and not internally. And Vessel needs to start looking internally. But there is definitely a case for the illusion of the projection starting to break down. So let's see if that happens. Oh, here he comes. Oh, oh, oh. Oh God, again. I mean, look at the imagery of this. It's just beautiful. So you've got all these parts of either past relationships, past emotions, past past anima projections standing in front of him, and he's got the samurai sword. I think it's. Please tell me if I might be wrong if that's a different word name for that sword, but it looks like a samurai to me. Um, I wonder what he's going to do next. Sorry, let's just go back a bit. I just love that imagery there. That so everything is frozen.
And I'm still full of the love you want. And I'm still full of the
Oh, he's cutting
love
it.
you want. And I'm still full of the love you want. The love you want.
Oh, that move there is huge. Just watch this again and watch what happens. It's swerving, it's dodging his strike. That so if we're using the this as the sword as a symbol of cutting either past relationships, the anema projection possibly here, but every time he does, they swerve, they dodge, they move out the way, and the cycle continues. Hmm. Watched it again. Wow.
Loyal insert on your own continuum.
Oh, oh God, that is so clever. Oh, of course, we should have known that the beginning was the end and the end is the beginning and it's the cycle. So he is literally going through all these past relationships, all these different anema projections, trying to cut the strings. That was also from another song as well. And they keep swerving, they keep dodging. You know, a new relationship, or he cuts them, but he then forms another relationship because he thinks that the love that he requires in order to become whole is external. It needs to be from someone else when it doesn't. He needs to look within himself. Oh, man. Okay. But the love you want is the love that he needs. And I genuinely feel like the illusion of the projection is starting to break down with this particular song. Because then if you go on to Fall for Me, it is the start of dissension where he realizes that he needs to start looking within, or at least understand that he has been putting his focus and love on someone else and it's never worked, and now he needs to start putting that on himself internally. But I'm going to come on to that in a minute. But wow, just the way that the female at the end there was controlling him, and then it gets him, and that's not him, killing himself. I think that's genuinely what it feels like every time a relationship ends. It feels like his whole world is crumbling around him.
Not keep the freak show talk to a
His poor
couple
heart.
minimum.
The thing is, he's doing this to himself. Wow. 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 Stunning. Absolutely stunning. That was. I really, really enjoyed that, and there was a lot of symbolism in there. The imagery as well was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it did feel like we were walking through his heart and all the sort of past relationships, traumas. I don't think, I don't know if there must be one specific relationship, and it could be why there was such a key focus on that one female within the video. It is starting to feel like there's one particular relationship that hurt him the most, and whether that's the last one or it was the first one, and that's why he continues this cycle, because that first one left such an impression on him and cut him the deepest, that he's been chasing that over and over again, and that could be the catalyst of the trauma, potentially. I don't know. I still don't think we found. Well, I certainly haven't felt like I found what the source of the trauma is yet. But anyway, that was the music video as promised. Now, before we finish this, I just want to go through someone very, very kindly. Thanks to Post Beach Clarity, he sent me across what the text on the screen said on full for me. So I'm going to read it out, and then I'm just going to quickly sort of, go through it and break down, maybe not line by line, but just, some of it, because I think it's really, really important, because some of you, were saying that I didn't put some of the sort of words or sentences together, and it does change things a little bit. So the truth is, I am due a harsh lesson in truth itself and how bitter it can be. Will you teach me? The truth is, I am ugly, I am inadequate, and I am lost. I am no God. The truth is, I want to live. And so do you. I just can't do this any longer. I am afraid. Are you afraid? I want to understand what it is to let go. So for now, let me serve as a living drama of your pain. And if we are to be submerged, let us be submerged together. I mean, God, it's just stunningly heartbreaking, isn't it? I mean, it's a poem in itself. So the truth is, I'm due a harsh lesson. So I kind of feel like this is the ego here realizing that the reality that he's been walking through so far has been a fantasy, or certainly it isn't working. And in the sort of Jungian psychology, the first part of integration is suffering. It is coming to terms with everything that you've created as this facade, as this persona, isn't real. And for the ego to understand and realize that is a really painful thing. This could go on for years, if not someone's whole life, depending on how early this sort of trauma happened. So it's almost like saying you're about to learn something about yourself that you don't want to learn. Now, the sentence, will you teach me? Again, you've got to think about, okay, who is you? Because it could be another person, right? It could be the person in the relationship. But if that is the case, then it's an for me it seems like an odd question to ask that person. Will you teach me? If they kind of if something's not right within the relationship. Do you understand? But maybe after thinking about this, there's two things. He could be talking to the anema, saying, "Will you teach me?" Or he could be saying this to sleep, the psychopomp. "Will you teach me? Will you take me further? Will you take me into the depths of my unconscious, or at least lead me there so that I can then be taught?" The truth is, I'm ugly, I'm inadequate, I am lost. I mean, oh my God. I really feel like this is the very first step of integration, of that realization. And this is not objective truth, this is psychological truth, right? This is in the unconscious that's coming conscious. And what's interesting in sort of past songs, he's kind of almost felt like, she's abandoned me, the projection, all of this type of thing, when actually, this is, I think, the first time when he's saying, "This is what I secretly believe about myself." And then the part where he says, "I am no God." It's almost like he doesn't know what he is, or at least the ego and the persona thought that he was a god. Because if he's saying, "I am no God," there must have been a stage where he thought, actually, I can handle all this. I'm strong enough to be able to deal with what is going on in my psyche. But I think now he's got to the point where he's like, actually, I am no God. I'm only human. I do have feelings. I do have traumas. I do have emotions. And that is such a key part of integrating into your anema, being self aware, um, being empathetic. That is such a key moment and key part of this integration or initial integration stage. The truth is, I want to live. And what's really interesting here is that he doesn't say, "I want to live." He says, "I want to live," which is really, really different. And what he's almost recognizing here is that his desire of life is starting to diminish because of this breakdown. And because of that realization, that is profound within Jungian psychology because you are admitting something isn't right. Whether or not you understand it at this moment in time is completely different, right? But they understand something is not right. And so do you. So the truth is, I want to live, and so do you. Again, if you're speaking about someone else, then absolutely that totally works. But if you're speaking to the anema, or not even the anema, but the unconscious here, then that's all almost kind of compassionate. It's like it's not just a one-sided thing, which you can gain comfort in that, right? That you're not alone. And this whole thing isn't about going into a battle with the unconscious. It's about going into a relationship with the unconscious, meeting it halfway, and then succumbing to it, descending into it. I just can't do this any longer. I'm afraid. So, again, on the surface level, you can say this is about a relationship, but projection requires enormous psychic energy, and eventually it collapses. So, can you imagine how you would feel after that? And then I am afraid. Are you afraid? And what's really telling about this is that there's no metaphors, right? There's no kind of symbolizations of oceans or anything like that. It's just the ego saying that I am afraid. And that means the persona has disappeared. The ego is now naked, it's now bare, which, funny enough, is exactly like the beach that Vessel is on. And are you afraid again? So, who is you? Who is he talking to? And you can say it's about another person. Are you afraid as well in a relationship? But I don't know. For me, that just kind of doesn't, it just doesn't quite make sense in terms of where this is at the moment. You know, you could say that he's talking to, again, the unconscious or even the the scared part of himself. Again, looking just for that little slight bit of comfort as he's kind of going into or starting this integration, this descension into unconscious, into the shadow work. I want to understand what it is to let go. And I think this is probably one of the turning points within this album, because before it was all about, how do I keep her? How do I stay with her? How do I keep hold of her? Now it's about how do I let go in order to move forward? That is essentially the end of the cycle. So for now, let me serve as a living drama of your pain. I mean, so you could say here that the unconscious has been using his body as the stage of acting itself out, using his body as a vessel, unconsciously. And if we are to be submerged, let us be submerged together. And the word together here really, really matters, because this is unity. Together, again, whether or not that's with somebody else, physically speaking, or together mentally, in all parts, in all fractures. Bring the fractures back together, all those different segments that have been fractured over these past, well, since the beginning of the very first song. I think he is consenting to descending into the unconscious, to start the shadow work, to face the shadow, face the trauma, and all that rawness. And visually speaking, as he walks off the shore into the ocean, across that visible threshold where ocean meets land. And the way that the video was put together was stunning. You had the lyrics that Vessel was singing, then you had the text on screen, and it was literally like two voices talking. You've got the ego, the conscious, and then you've got the text, the unconscious, saying slightly different things, or even saying things that are beneath the surface, which again Vessel has referred to in other songs. So yeah, one to stew on again, but I do think that Fall for me is feels to me within the Jungian lens and the interpretation that I've been using a definite turning point and the start of integration and the transformation within this tomb. So we'll be back for episode 12. We're going to call this one episode 11, the midweek interlude, and then we'll call Sleep Token Sunday episode 12, and that'll revert back to its usual timing on Sunday at 2 p.m. British Standard Time. I'm the First Listen Guy. I hope you found that interesting, and I'll love you and leave you, and I'll see you this Sunday for episode 12.
Welcome to the show. I'm the first listen guy, taking it all in. Let the record play, let the journey begin.